9.69 seconds. That is the amount of time it took to change Usain Bolt's life and begin his road to becoming the fastest man on earth. Usain Bolt grew up in a very poor town that did not have streetlights or reliable water source. As a young child, Usain Bolt loved to play cricket and with whatever sporting equipment he could.
The information you just heard is from Usain Bolt, the three-time gold medalist for the 100-meter dash, in the book Usain Bolt, My Story, 9.58, Being the World's Fastest Man, published on October 1st, 2010. Bolt then went on to win gold at the World Youth Championship in 2003 and has not stopped racing since.
According to the survey we took in class, 88% of this class watched the 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio.
The Olympics is a worldwide sporting event that occurs every 4 years in which countries compete against each other for the gold medals.
First, we will talk about the Greek history of the Olympics. Second, the evolution of the Olympics over the years. Third, the Summer Olympics. And finally, the Winter Olympics.
First, I will explain the intricate history of the Olympics. The modern Olympics can be traced back to Greek culture. According to historical records, the first ancient Olympics were held in 776 BC. The games were staged every 4 years in Olympia. Before the games, Olympia functioned as a meeting place for worship and other religious and political practices as early as 10th century BC. According to the Olympic Organization, recorder of all official Olympic news in the article Ancient Olympic Games, published in 2016, the center of Olympia was dominated by the majestic Temple of Zeus, which held a statue of Zeus 6 times the size of a man, as you can see in this picture. The games were held in honor of Zeus, king of the gods. People from all over the Greek world came to watch and participate. Since the city-states were often at war, this made travel very dangerous. Tony Hall, editor-in-chief for the BBC, writes in BBC Primary History Ancient Greece, the Olympic Games, published in 2014, that to promote safe travels, a sacred truce was developed. Messengers from Elis, a town near Olympia, sent out word of the truce. It promoted peace that began 1 month before the games to allow ample travel time. The early games aimed to show the physical qualities and evolution of the performers. They did so through sporting events. The initial games were one-day events, but as the games grew, so did the days allotted for the games. The ancient games included running, long jump, shot put, javelin, boxing, and creighton, and equestrian events. In these events, the athletes competed completely naked and often covered in oil to improve their performance. The running events took place on a wide track that could race 20 people at once. There were 3 main running events: the stage race, which was a 200-meter foot race, the dialysis, which was a 400-meter foot race, and the Delochus, which was between 7 and 24 states. For jumping, the athletes would use lead weights to increase their distance. As they neared the end of their flight, they would throw the weights backwards. The throwing events were similar to the technique used in today's throwing events. Wrestling was highly valued as a form of military exercise without the use of weapons. The matches only ended when one opponent admitted defeat. Boxers would wrap their hands in hard leather straps, which often disfigured the opponent's face during the match. Pancratin was a primitive form of martial arts combining wrestling and boxing. It was considered to be one of the toughest sports. The winner of this was considered to be the winner of all. Equestrian races often included horse and chariot races and took place in a separate building. There were not many rules for the events or competitors, but if you were caught cheating or trying to bribe an athlete, you were punished by being forced to pay for a bronze statue of Zeus.
Winners of the events were given a wreath of leaves to be worn upon their head. As you can see, they were also welcomed home as heroes. Winners were able to marry rich women, enjoy free meals, invitation to parties, and the best seats at the theater. Although not all Greeks were allowed to participate, all free male citizens were allowed to compete regardless of status. On the contrary, unmarried women were only allowed to observe the games, and married women were not even allowed to watch the games. Edward Lawler Jr., a historian for U.S. History magazine, states in the article titled Olympic Games, published in 2016, that over time the Greeks began to hold a festival of games in honor of Hera, Zeus's wife. This allowed unmarried women to compete in what was mostly foot races. If Greeks were not competing in the games, they came to watch. About 50,000 people could sit in the stadium and watch. Most of the visitors pitched tents or camped out at night. Only athletes and the rich were offered hotel rooms to stay in. At the conclusion of the games, there was a giant feast and entertainment. Now that we have learned about the historical background of the Olympics, I will discuss the evolution of the Olympic Games. To be first, the first one takes the imagination to attempt the impossible, the courage to go where others have never ventured, and the strength to succeed. Records can be broken, but to be first is a permanent distinction. The modern Olympic Games have brought many firsts to athletes and countries. The first modern Olympic game was held in 1896 in Athens, Greece. These games were organized by Frenchman Pierre de Coubertin, who assembled the first International Olympic Committee. The IOC is responsible for continuing with the regular celebration of the Olympic Games, along with promoting the development of sports nationwide.
In the 1992 Winter Olympic Games, Kristi Yamaguchi, the first Asian American woman to bring home a gold medal, stated by Dana Ellen Griel, the chief of web and social media at the National Archives, in the article First Kristi Yamaguchi, written in August of 2014. Yamaguchi had been born with a foot condition and started skating to strengthen her feet and ankles. This achievement would not have been made possible without the IOC and other organizations mandating that women be allowed to participate in the Olympic Games to promote gender equality and the participation of women in sports. Since 1991, any sport asking to be included in the Olympic Games must also offer a women's event. The Summer Olympic Games held in London in 2012 was the first year that all participating countries had female athletes. The Olympic Games have also faced difficulties such as doping. The first recorded incident of doping was during the 1960 Games in Rome, when a Danish cyclist collapsed and died after his coach gave him amphetamines. As a result of this, formal drug tests were instituted at the 1968 Games in Grenoble, France. The issue of doping and the practice of taking performance-enhancing drugs is still a serious problem facing the Olympics. In 1999, the IOC created a World Anti-Doping Agency, which requires athletes to be screened before and after each event. If they test positive, they can be disqualified and banned for years or possibly life. The modern Olympic Games also hold a lot of symbolism, such as the opening, medal, and closing ceremonies, along with the Olympic flag. One of the main events of the opening ceremonies is the lighting of the Olympic flag, flame, which burns day and night during the Olympic Games. During the medal ceremonies, an abbreviated version of the gold medalist's national anthem is played, during which spectators are expected to stand and face the flag. After the final event, the Olympic flag is put out and the Olympic flag is taken down. During this time, the youth is called to join again in 4 years to celebrate the next Olympiad. The Olympic flag was designed by Pierre de Coubertin. The flag has a white background and consists of 5 colored rings to celebrate the 5 parts of the world coming together to celebrate the Olympic Games. As explained by Harold Maurice Abrams, an Olympic gold medalist in the 100-meter dash, and David C. Young, the author of Olympic Myth of Amateur Athletics, in the article Olympic Games written in May of 2014. These 6 colors also are a part of each country's flag. The blue and yellow of Sweden, the blue and white of Greece, the tricolor flags of Belgium, England, France, Germany, Hungary, Italy, and the United States, and the yellow and red of Spain are included. The colors of the intricate flags of Brazil, Australia, ancient Japan, and modern China are also represented. This makes the Olympic flag truly an international symbol.
After learning about both the history and the evolution of the Olympic Games, I will explain the Summer Olympic Games. The Summer Olympic Games are very important for people everywhere around the world. There are many athletes that have become famous because of the Olympics. Most of us can remember Usain Bolt, who broke the world record in 2009 at the Berlin World Championships, 1 year after taking gold in Beijing Olympics in the 100-meter dash. Who can forget Simone Biles became the first woman in 20 years to win back-to-back world championships and all-around titles in gymnastics in Rio 2016. We can't forget Michael Phelps, who swam in 5 Olympic Games, winning 28 medals in total. There are numerous countries with multiple athletes that have been represented at the most recent games. Patricio Sanchez Fernandez, a professor of financial economics and accounting at the University of Vigo, and Antonio Vaamonliste has his master's in statistical technique, who wrote the article Olympic Medals Success Prediction for Rio 2016, released on September 1st, 2016. They stated that the United States was predicted to win 101 to 106 medals at Rio. To their surprise, the United States won 121 medals. There were 11,237 athletes in the 2016 Rio Olympics. 207 countries participated in the Rio Olympics, including the United States, China, and Jamaica. Katie Bruce, who is a part of the National Sporting Goods Association marketing team and communications director, stated in the article, Written Opportunity, on November 1st, 2016, states that there are 42 summer sports associated with the Olympics. Some of the main sports include track and field, gymnastics, and swimming. In the track and field portion, there are 24 events for men and 23 events for women. There are 2 different types of gymnastics, artistic and rhythmic. In artistic gymnastics, there are 8 events for men and 6 events for women. In the rhythmic gymnastics, there are only events for women, individual and group. Unlike artistic gymnastics and track and field, there are more events for women than there are for men in swimming.
Now, those are the sports you hear a lot about. But some uncommon sports are judo, trampoline, and cycling. In judo, they fight in weight classes. The middle weight for a man is 179 to 198 pounds. And for women, the middle weight is 139 to 154 pounds. Trampoline is a very small event in the Summer Olympics. The athletes in this sport do a series of flips and stunts to get points, and any stumble or bent leg will take away points. There are 4 different types of cycling events in the Summer Olympics: BMX, mountain bike, road, and track. Cycling is also a part of the triathlon event in the Summer Olympics as well. These games make up the 14 to 18 day span of the Summer Olympics.
Now that we have talked about the history of the Greek Olympics, the evolution of the Olympics over the years, and the Summer Olympics, I will talk about the Winter Olympics. The first Winter Olympic Games took place in Chamonix, France in 1924. The Winter Olympics started because in 1921, the International Olympic Committee met and gave its consent to have its very first Winter Sports Week take place. Winter Sports Week would later become known as the Winter Olympic Games. The first Winter Olympics were a great success. Over 10,000 spectators came to watch and 16 different countries were represented. There were over 16 events in the very first Winter Olympics. 258 athletes participated, 247 men and 11 women. Norway won the first Winter Olympics with 17 team medals. Today there has been a total of 22 Winter Olympic Games. The Winter Olympics take place every 4 years. The Winter Olympics and Summer Olympics used to take place on the same year up until 1992. Now they alternate every 2 years. According to D.G. Romano, the Karabath Professor of Greek Archaeology, in the article Modern Olympic Summer and Winter Game Host Cities, written in December 2012, the Winter Games have only been canceled on 2 separate occasions since they started in 1924, in 1940 and in 1944 due to World War II. Right before World War II, the 1936 Winter Olympics were held in Garmisch-Partenkirchen, Germany. In these games, the Germans yielded to international Olympic leaders' insistence on fair play and allowed one half-Jewish band to compete on their ice hockey team. Hitler also ordered all anti-Jewish signs to be removed from public view. Perhaps one of the most memorable Winter Olympic Games for the United States was in the 1980 Games in Lake Placid, New York, when the United States beat the Soviet Union 4-3 in hockey. Going into the Olympics, the Soviets were seeded number 1, while the United States was seeded 7th. The Soviet Union had won the last 4 Olympic hockey golds